Hari Om. On behalf of Chinmaya Mission Chicago Yamunotri, I would like to welcome you all for this 2-day Gnan Yagna. Most of you all know Swamiji very well, but for those few, I'd like to give a very brief introduction. After earning degrees in electronics and communication engineering, Swamiji were a lecturer in engineering college in Bangalore. In 2005, after inspired by Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji, Swamiji joined 2-year Vedanta course in Sandipani Sadhanalaya in Bombay. After completing 2 years of Vedanta course, Swamiji, as a Brahmachari Sujai Chaitanyaji, served Chinmaya Mission centers in South India. In 2018, Puja Guruji Swami Tejwananji gave sannyas diksha to Swamiji, and as Swami Aparajitananda ji, Swamiji is serving at present in Mangalore, but then in May of this year, with our blessings of Puja Gurudev and Lord's grace, Yamunotri is so fortunate to have Swamiji as a resident Swamiji of Chinmaya Mission Yamunotri. So let's get a big hands for ourselves. So having a Swamiji. Swamiji has a very melodious voice in singing bhajans, and Swamiji has a very unique way of making very difficult subject of this Vedanta in very clear and easy way for us to understand. So before I request Swamiji to start this Gnan Yagna, there are some housekeeping items that I would like to go with. First and foremost, please put your cell phone on vibrate or silent. And if you must answer, please answer outside the shrine. The restrooms are downstairs for both gents and ladies. There is a notepad outside, so please write your name and email address on that, so we have, for any future Gnan Yagnas, we can contact you. We would like to start all the discourses on time, so please arrive to the shrine few minutes before. The schedule for next 2 days is 10 to 11 discourse, first discourse, then we'll have break for 11 to 12, then 12 to 1 will be the second discourse. 1 to 3:30 will be the lunch break, rest, recreation downstairs. 3:30 to 4 bhajans, and 4 to 5 the third discourse. If you have any questions during all these 5 discourses, please write it down or keep it with you. We have the last discourse tomorrow evening is question and answers, and you'll have a chance to answer the question direct to Swamiji. Please, Swamiji, thanks very much.
Hari Om. सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् शकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। कृष्ण कृष्ण मनमोहना चित्तचोरा गोपी जीवना कृष्ण कृष्ण मनमोहना चित्तचोरा गोपी जीवना वेणुधारी जगन्मोहना व्रजवासी नन्दनन्दना वेणुधारी जगन्मोहना व्रजवासी नन्दनन्दना कृष्ण कृष्ण मनमोहना चित्तचोरा गोपी जीवना मेघश्याम मधुसूदना राधाकान्ता यदुनन्दना मेघश्याम मधुसूदना राधाकान्ता यदुनन्दना कृष्ण कृष्ण मनमोहना चित्तचोरा गोपी जीवना चित्तचोरा गोपी जीवना ॐ नमो नारायणाय 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 ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Humble prostrations to one and all present here. The topic of discussion for this 1 hour is conquering the wild mind. What is this wild mind? So the description of wild mind is given by Arjuna himself in Bhagavad Gita. Chanchalam hi manak Krishna pramathi balavadrudham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Which chapter? Sixth chapter. So when Bhagavan describes all the techniques of meditation, so this is the question which Arjuna asks Bhagavan. You are talking of fixing the mind upon the highest, but it is so difficult. Why is it difficult? It is difficult because mind is chanchalam, mind is pramathi, mind is balavat, mind is drudham. 4 terms are used to indicate the nature of mind. Right? So what are the 4 terms? The first one, chanchalam. It is not just chalam, it is chanchalam. It is not just fickle, it is extremely fickle. What do you mean extremely fickle? Those who regularly meditate, they know. See, unless you look into the nature of the mind, you will never know how the mind behaves. So these are all the terms given by a person who has studied the nature of the mind. Chanchalam, fickle. When you sit at the seat of meditation, suddenly the mind says, oh, meditation is boring. Let us do some nama japa. After some time, say, no, nama japa is also a little boring. Maybe I should do ucca japa, loudly I should. I think this is also very distraction. Suddenly you remember, oh, did I switch off the gas? Oh, somebody is going to come today. I have to go to office and this is the work which is pending. You see? So the mind is going on, jumping from one subject to the other. So the opposite of chanchalatvam, what is the opposite? Chitta ekagrata, concentration of mind. This is the opposite of fickleness. So this is one defect of the mind. Chanchalam. What is the second one? Pramathi. Pramathi. Mathanam means to churn. You churn milk to get curd. In the same way, this mind churns our within. It agitates, it disturbs, it creates turbulence within. Pramathi. Now remember, every situation doesn't churn. What disturbs the mind? You will always find it is the negative thoughts which disturb the mind. So by using the term pramathi, what Arjuna is saying is, Bhagavan, this mind is naturally negative. The thoughts in this mind, by its very nature, it is negative. And these negative thoughts create disturbance in the mind. Positive thoughts don't create disturbance. It is always the negative mind which create disturbance. Negative thoughts which create disturbance. Now, a very interesting thing is said here. Mind is naturally negative. Left to itself, it is always thinking of something negative. And therefore there is worry, anxiety, tension, stress. Now a very important question comes, why is mind naturally negative? Mind is naturally negative because mind is naturally identified with the body. And the nature of the body is, it is dependent upon so many external factors. And therefore, the body has to be kept secure. So the mind is constantly thinking about the welfare and well-being of the body. The body which is dependent upon so many external factors. So therefore, the mind constantly worries. It is a natural state of the mind. So this is called as pramathi. Mathanam means to churn. Pramathanam means what? Intense churning. Everywhere that extra, this is used. Right? Pramathi. And then the third term is balavat. Balavat means what? Balavan. Balavan means what? Strong, powerful. It makes us do what we are not supposed to do. It forces. There is a power there. I know this I should not think, but the mind forcefully takes me there and makes me think. I know this I should not speak, but the mind forces me to speak such harsh words, hurting words. I know I should not do this, but the mind forces me. That force is called balam. I am helpless. The mind forces me. I don't want to do something, but the mind forces me to do it. Balavat. And then dridham. The mind is already engaging in this sensual object. I want the mind to withdraw. Then how does the mind behave? Dridham, stubborn, insistent, unyielding. Right. It just doesn't listen to me. So it forces me to the world of objects. And when I try to bring the mind away from those objects, it just doesn't listen. Bhagavan, this is the nature of the mind. So what are the four terms? Chanchalam, Pramathi, Balavat and Dridham. Together is called wild mind. So this is the definition of wild mind. All these aspects are there. Right? It is fickle. It is by nature negative. It is very powerful and it is very stubborn. And then Arjuna says, Tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Bhagavan, tasya nigraham dushkaram. You are talking of conquering this mind. It is just impossible. And an example is given to understand how difficult it is. Vayohoriva, like wind. Now what a beautiful example is given here. The mind is compared with wind. Vayu. So what is the similarity we find here? Vayu is not perceptible to the sense organs, isn't it? In the same way, the mind is also, we can't perceive it with our sense organs. It is unseen. The first comparison. Second one, the power of the mind. The power of the wind. How much ever we have grown in science and technology, even today, when there is a tornado, or the whirlwind, or the storm, what is the instruction given? Go away. Give way to it. Isn't it? Step aside, because we don't know how to control it. Go to some safer place. We can only say it is coming. In this direction it is coming. Through this way it will pass. This is all we can say. Isn't it? We just cannot control. That is the power of this wind. In the same way, the mind is equally powerful. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. So when Arjuna says this, what is the answer Bhagavan gives? Asamshayam mahabaho manoturnigraham chalam. Asamshayam. Arjuna, what you said is 100% true. There is no samshaya in it. Asamshayam. And see the term used, Mahabaho. Hey Mahabahu, O mighty armed Arjuna. Even for the so-called mighty people, this is true. The message is, the true might of a person, the true strength of a person is not external. The true strength of a person is the ability to conquer the mind. Such a person alone is true Mahabahu. Asamshayam Mahabahu. Manaha durnigraham. Chalam. What you said is right. It is chalam. It is fickle. It is durnigraham. It is unconquerable. What you said is right. I fully agree with it. But Arjuna, though it is difficult, it is not impossible. I agree. It is difficult, but it is not impossible. Bhagavan, then how is it possible to conquer this mind? Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Grihyate. It is possible. Bhagavan, what we should do? Abhyasena vairagyena grihyate. Through abhyasa, through vairagya, it is possible. Now the answer is so beautiful. Actually, among these two, the main term is vairagya. Abhyasa is just practice. The main term is vairagya. So in one word, Bhagavan has not only given the reason why mind is wild, but also Bhagavan has given the solution also. The disease also is diagnosed, medicine also is prescribed by this one word. That is the beauty of the Lord, Minimum words. As you go in depth of what this term vairagya means. So Bhagavan says, vairagyena, through vairagya, you can conquer the mind. So therefore, if solution is vairagya, what is the problem? What should be the problem? Raga is the problem. You see? If viraga is the solution, raga is the problem. Yes or no? So therefore, now we have to spend some time upon what is raga before entering into viraga. Viraga, vairagya, both are the same. What is raga? Extreme attachment is called raga. So Bhagavan is saying, wherever raga is there the mind will behave this way. Which way? Chanchalam, pramathi, balavat and dridham. Yes, wherever raga is there, these things you will see. So if you want to get rid of these traits of the mind, you will have to get rid of raga. How? By practicing vairagya. So now what is raga? Extreme attachment is called raga. Attachment to what? Attachment to vastu, vyakti, paristhiti. Vastu, a thing. Vyakti, a being. Paristhiti, situation. A thing, being or a situation. Whenever there is intense attachment, that intense attachment is what is called as raga. Okay. Now the next question is, how did I develop this raga? Was it accidental? Is it self-created? Or has it come through prarabdha? God sent? So now, when we analyze this raga, we come to know that it is self-created. How do we create this raga? So see, this is the process. I come in touch with an object. I interact with the object. I like that interaction. Why do I like? Because that interaction is giving me joy, sukham. So wherever, whatever gives me sukha, I will have raga towards it. This is the law. So I interact with an object. In that interaction, I am getting sukha, joy. That joy automatically makes me attached to it. Because I am a seeker of sukha, happiness. So anything which gives me sukha, the tendency of the mind is it will stick onto it. So, first step, interaction. What is interaction? Sense organs come in contact with the sense object. This is called as interaction. Jnanendriyas, karmendriyas coming in contact with indriya vishayas. This is interaction. To give an example, you drink a cup of coffee. Okay? Then you observe yourself. This was nice. I think I should have it again and again. This is truly refreshing. Right? So what has happened? This sukha has led to raga. Then what I do? Abhyasa I do. You see? Not vairagya abhyasa, but raga abhyasa. That's why Bhagavan has used other term. So every day I think, at this particular time, I must have it. Because this is good. So over a period of time, constantly you are interacting with that object. And then what happens? Every time there is joy. With constant interaction, what happens to the intensity of raga? Decreases or increases? Increases. And a time comes when you say, oh, without this, my day cannot begin. Without this, life is useless. Isn't it? Yes or no? Then that stage is called addiction. That stage is called slavery. Yes or no? I depend on that object for my happiness. I feel myself incomplete without that particular vishaya. Remember, this is true with everything. Vastu, vyakti, paristhiti. Constant interaction. You interact with a person, you liked it. It was nice. Again and again I should meet that person. And slowly you meet that person again and again. Every time you came back with sweet memories. And then you allocate time to meet with that person. Days pass, months pass, years pass, and a time comes when you say, that person is my life. Isn't it? That person is the apple of my eye. I can't think of living without that person. How did it happen? Constant interaction. What kind of interaction? Unintelligent interaction. Why do I call it unintelligent? Because this interaction is taking away my freedom from me. Anything which takes away my freedom from me, it is poison. Anything which makes me a slave is poison. It may be sweet poison, but it is poison. Isn't it? It is giving me joy. Interaction with that person is giving me a lot of joy. But that joy silently, unconsciously is doing a great harm to you, which we are not realizing. What is that harm? It is making me a slave. It is making me dependent. It is taking away that state of being a master. Right? So now, I'll give you a homework for all of you. list down what all things, what all beings, what all situations come under the Raga category. Okay? How do I know? Just sit at the seat of meditation. Find out where is this mind wandering. Where is this mind going? You will always find the mind will not go to some stranger. The mind will always go towards a person whom I love or hate. Both are there. Huh? Whenever I talk of Raga, remember, Dvesha is the other side of the coin. It's always there. So find out where the mind is going. And then you will find out where your ragas are. Right. So why raga is a problem? Raga is a problem because it makes me a slave. Right. All mental agitations come from things, beings, situations to which I am addicted. Right. Spirituality is the science of making you a master of life, making you psychologically independent. True happiness should not be happiness because of. True happiness should be happiness in spite of. Whether that thing is there or not, I am happy. Whether this person is there or not, I am happy. My happiness doesn't depend on anything, any being, or any situation. This is true mastery. Spirituality is all about this. So when can I say that I am truly evolving spiritually? When there is lesser and lesser dependence on others, on other things. Then we say yes. Yogarato va bhogarato va sangarato va sangavihina yasya brahmani ramate chetam nandati nandati nandatyeva bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. Yes. So what is the true state? Yogaratova bhogaratova. Whether it is in yoga or bhoga. Sangaratova sangavihinaha. Whether I am with people or without people. Yasya brahmani ramade chittam. If the mind is reveling in God, what is his experience? Nandati, nandati, nandati. A constant state of peace, happiness, contentment. This is the goal of spirituality. Right. So now we have understood this raga. So next step is how to develop vairagya. So is this raga self-created or God-given? So the first step in spirituality is to say, for all my miseries, I alone am responsible. This is the first step in spirituality. Generally, what do we say? For all my misery, somebody else is responsible. The pointing finger is pointing towards somebody else. As long as this finger is pointing towards somebody else, know that you have not started your spiritual journey. The spiritual journey starts the moment you say, no, I am miserable because of myself. I have to improve. I have to correct. I have to reform myself. The world is perfect. I am miserable because I am imperfect. I am here in this world to improve myself. That day when you are fully convinced of this great reality, that day onwards, the journey begins. the journey towards spiritual progress. Right? So this seeker is constantly working upon oneself. So now how to develop this vairagya? Number one, painfully be aware or how much this raga is disturbing the mind. Not just being aware, but being painfully aware. So every time there is anxiety, every time there is worry, our line of thinking should be, see how much I am attached. This attachment is creating all this misery. You understood? Develop right thinking. Every time you are miserable, some near and dear one dies and you are shattered. What should be the analysis? Generally people say, God, why me? No, correct yourself. Why not me? My misery is because my unhealthy relationship, my unhealthy attachment with this person, because of which I am shattered. So this is very important. Being painfully aware of the miseries which this attachment brings into my life. Point number 2. Being in touch with the reality of life. What is the reality of life? The reality of life is everything, every being, every situation is impermanent. Someday or the other, this will leave me. It is impermanent. Being ever in touch with the reality of this life. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam tattvajjivitamati shayachapalam vidhi vyadhyabhimana grastam lokam shokahatam cha samastam. So what is life? Nalini dalagata jalam atitaralam tattvajjivitam. Jivitam is like the water droplet playing on the lotus petal. A wind, a small breeze, and that water droplet rolls down the leaf. Isn't it? Life is also like this. It is impermanent. So now, when I attach myself to a person who is impermanent, to a thing which is impermanent, what will happen? Someday or the other that thing has to go away. Then what is the end result? Sorrow will be the end result. Right. Okay. Now, when I am talking about vairagya, I also have to mention a very important thing. Generally what happens when such discussions happen, when the person goes back home, wife, children, they are all impermanent. I should not get attached with any of these things. They will only give me misery. And this person is totally changed. And the wife is wondering what happened. Morning when he went from home, he was okay. After attending all these study classes, etc., they come and tell, Swamiji, my husband was such a nice person. You have spoiled him. What happened? Now he's a very serious person. He's not concerned about us. It's a very common problem seen with the beginners of spirituality. Okay? Spirituality should make you a mature person, not an immature person. So, always remember, vairagya is not something to be shown, it is something to be known. Right? When we are dealing with our family members, deal with them with love. Why? Because they crave our love. Give them attention because they crave our attention. Serve them. Love them. Take care of everything, whatever they need. because that is your duty as a family member. But as far as a Vairagya is concerned, it should be secretly preserved in your deepest within. It should not be shown. Right? People are at different stages of evolution. They need your love, respect, attention, recognition, etc. Give them what they want. So while dealing with the world, this is the way we must deal. What is the mistake we do? There is Vairagya comes, and then he is more interested in showing this Vairagya. And all the relationships are spoiled. A person who shows Vairagya know for sure that he has no Vairagya. Right? See, when a child comes to you with its drawing, a child is coming. Something he has painted or something. What do? What do you say? Oh, such a nice painting. Wow, how beautifully you have given the color. Oh, I will frame it and keep it. Isn't it? That painting will be horrible. Yes, scratched here and there, that's all. With the crayon or etc. But how do you speak? You come down to the level of the child. Why? Because the child is craving love, craving attention, craving appreciation. You give that, isn't it? But at the back of the mind, you know, this, over a period of time, he'll grow. There are a lot of things to be. You don't tell it. You don't express it. Isn't it? So Guruji used to say, Andar Rama, Bahar drama. So in this world, you have to do a lot of drama. Now you may ask, Swamiji, isn't it, hypocrisy? Inside something and outside something else. No, it's not hypocrisy. Seeing the need of the person in front of you, you are adjusting your behavior for the welfare of the person who is in front of you. Right? You don't have any evil motive. You have only the motive of helping the person evolve. So how will you help the person evolve? By coming down to the level of the person. So this is never adharma. We have to understand this. Sometimes you are telling a lie. But it is not adharma, it is dharma only. Because the intention is to help the person evolve. Right? Intention is to inspire the person. Dharma and adharma depends on the intention behind action. That decides dharma and adharma. Not action, but the intention behind action. So this we must know. So right, so therefore, when we practice this Vairagya, we have to be very careful. Vairagya for oneself, expression of Raga for others. Right? So externally you are a very cheerful person, very happy person, very loving person, very full of concern, etc. But deep down, you are detached. Just like we travel in the train, how we handle people? Train travel is a very good example, So the person is there, some unknown stranger is there, and slowly we strike a conversation. We spend some time. We sometimes even share our food also. We share our experiences, stories, but at the back of the mind, everything is clear. What is that? At some station, either that person will have to get down, or I will have to get down, and then the relationship has to end. But still, we have a beautiful relationship, isn't it? In life also, so many people will come in the form of husband, wife, children, relatives, neighbors, friends. Have a beautiful relationship with all, but at the same time, understand one thing, everything is impermanent, and there is only one thing which is permanent. What is it? God. So this is the next step in cultivating Vairagya. Number one, cultivate viraga from the world. Next step, cultivate raga towards God. Both are essential. Both are essential. Merely cultivating vairagya from the world will not work. Many people try to do that, it won't work. Mind is craving for happiness. If it doesn't get happiness from the Lord, it will crave for happiness from the world. At least world is giving some happiness. So you cannot leave that happiness, the worldly happiness, unless the mind is exposed to a higher happiness, higher joy. And that joy comes from devotion to God. It's a very important thing. So, when we say abhyasa, not only there should be vairagya abhyasa, there should also be bhakti abhyasa. Loving God is very essential. As you start loving God, you find that whatever your desires are, everything gets fulfilled from that supreme source. Your physical needs, your emotional needs, your intellectual needs, your spiritual needs, all the needs are fulfilled by that unseen source, which is the very self in you, which is always with you. When you start experiencing unconditional love, infinite love from that supreme source, the mind experiences a state of fulfillment. Such a fulfilled mind will not crave for the worldly joys. This is a true practice of vairagya. Otherwise, it will only end up in suppression. You are not exposing the mind to the world, and the mind cannot recharge itself from the divine source. Such a mind will be a suppressed mind. Any suppression has to explode someday or the other. Right? So, abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grhyate. So, what are the steps? Number one, painfully be aware of the defects of raga. What are the pains? Slavery, anxiety, worry. In fact, you will find that wherever raga is there, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya will be there. 100% sure. This kama is nothing but raga only. So the first is kama, intense attachment. Krodha will come. You always find out this. Why am I angry towards this particular person? You will always find that people whom you love the most, you will be angry at that person only maximum. Yes or no? Mothers are always agitated thinking of their children. Why? Attachment is there. So where there is attachment, krodha is natural. Kama, krodha, lobha, greed. Too much of expectation from children. Why? Attachment is there. Lobha is there, you see. And when you are attached to a person too much, your intellect stops functioning. Intellect literally gets paralyzed when you are in front of a person whom you are attached. Moha, infatuation. You are not able to take right decisions. Intellect is jammed. Always you take decision in favor of those whom you love. That topic anyway will come next. Decision making. Right? So all these weaknesses, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, they are all connected to this raga only. So everything evil of the mind is connected to raga. So be painfully aware of the defects of raga. This is number one. This is called as adhyatmika solution. Then adhibhautika, what is it? Whatever thing, being or situation is, it is impermanent. meditate upon the impermanent nature of everything. Instead of meditating upon the joy which it gives, meditate upon the pain it is going to give. Then you will always find that you keep a distance, a healthy distance from it. A healthy distance is necessary. We get attached because we are constantly thinking about the joy which is giving. How to develop detachment? Think about the pain it is going to give. The impermanent nature. And the third one, what is the third one? Develop devotion for God. The more and more you develop devotion for God, you will find that your attachment to things, beings and situations will just drop off. It is exactly like, a piece of iron. One magnet is kept here. It gets attracted. But suppose you keep a huge magnet, then what will happen? Instead of getting attracted here, it gets attracted to this huge magnet. God is that huge magnet. In fact, God should become the huge magnet in your life. The more and more you do this bhakti abhyasa, you will find that that becomes the main thing, the first priority in life. And in such situation, you will find the mind is no more wild. The mind is ever resting at the lotus feet of the Lord. The mind is ever abiding in the self. Such a mind is an obedient mind, a peaceful mind, silent mind, a disciplined mind. So this is the way to conquer the wild mind. Time is up. So now we will again meet at 12 o'clock, 1 hour break. So we can just reflect upon whatever has been said. If you have any questions, keep it. Tomorrow there is a question answer session at 4 to 5. Okay. Did you all bring a pillow after lunch to take some rest? We have enough space. We have bathrooms also. Only one thing, food is also there. Right. So again we will meet at 12 o'clock. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om